Good afternoon and welcome to Lifelong Learners Talk Show, and I'm your talk show host, Terrence Perry, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you all today some special knowledge and information that you definitely don't want to miss. You want to soak all of this up, take it in. We have another exciting guest, as always, every week. So I know you're not surprised, but you will be surprised by the information and knowledge that you get today. Just before we get started with our guest, I do want to, I will introduce my producer in just a minute, which is Amnon, and then I will be also introducing my guest, which is none other than Sheyenne Kreamer. Many of you know her locally in Raleigh, North Carolina. Some of you know her abroad and beyond that scope. So today she has many nuggets that she's going to share with you about what she's doing and how she's helping in the community. So without further ado, I do want to introduce Sheyenne Kreamer. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Terrence. Thanks for having me here today.
I couldn't think of a better person to have in the room, in this seat today. And I say that because of everybody that I've had here prior to you, more than likely, they know you, they know me, they know us, and they probably met somehow through you and our connection, even though we cross paths all the time. A lot of times we're like two ships passing, or two cars passing on the highway going, you going east and I'm going west,
That's
or
right.
I'm going west and you're going east.
Yes, sir.
So you made it through the weekend, okay?
Yes, thank God. We were very, very fortunate, and I hope you were as well.
Now, and I was. Power was off. Power was back on now. But before I go any further, I do want you to just kind of give the audience today an idea of who you are, those that don't know, who you are and what you're currently involved in. Just a little background before we go forward.
Sure. I've been in the Raleigh area for about 25 years now, and I was brought here because of a corporate downsizing that transferred me here, put me into another corporate position, and then downsized me again when the plant closed 6 months later. So that's what brought me to the Triangle, and I have been on quite a journey learning about entrepreneurship, learning about how more people can actually become self-sustaining through entrepreneurship. I've gotten very involved in the community in the last 10 years, learning more about what's really happening in our homeless shelters and working with some of our at-risk youth, as well as folks from the formerly incarcerated community. And I'm here to be about the idea that I believe poverty is man-made. It doesn't need to continue, and we need to just build the right support structures around people that allow them to become not just self-sustaining, but to be able to thrive. So that's kind of my core thing. I have written a book in the past year called Building the New Underground Railroad, the Playbook. And again, it's all about trying to help more people get out of the poverty trap, both from the professional side of folks who end up long-term unemployed, as well as some of our folks who are, in wealth-challenged communities in general. And right now, I'm in the process of putting on an event this Saturday in Washington, D.C., called Women Leading from the Heart.
Wow, you a busy woman, but that's not new. That's not new to us that know you. That may be new to some other ones that may have heard of you. But yeah, you're always busy and doing a lot in the community, with the community, connecting people in the community. And I think you're one of the most outgoing people that's in the community right now. I don't care whether it's southeast Raleigh or northwest. You're there. You're in those venues. Everywhere that I've gone, and everywhere that I am, I see you.
That's right.
Even if I'm not there, I hear that you were, or I see in the paper or on the news, you were there. So let me back up a minute. And before I go any further, because I do want to retract everything that you just said, particularly I wanted to touch bases on, you're going to be in D.C. This weekend. So I want to hone in on that a little more. But before I do, my producer hasn't responded yet. How you doing, Amnon?
I'm all right.
All
How are
right.
you? It's just
Catch your breath?
the internet was down for days, and I guess it's down in other places, and it's kind of choppy when I get it back, and I'm trying to get. I mean, anybody who's listening, if it's lagging or whatever, switch it to channel 3 under the video, and to get a better. And I'm working on it. It may stop for a second and come back.
So
It's fine.
okay.
We're doing fine. How did you fare in this weekend?
My power was off for a couple of days, but I made it through, and the power was back on now.
How about you, Sheyenne?
I was very fortunate. Our power flickered a couple of times, but it never went off.
Wow. Ours came back last night.
Oh yeah, off of about 3 days off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that, I mean, it was an experience.
I mean,
Not new, but I really wasn't expecting it to hit here like it did. Even though I had heard that it was, I'm like, I guess I played it down because I didn't think
Everybody
it was
did.
Be,
Yeah.
even the big guys did.
yeah. It came with the power.
Yeah.
So, Sheyenne, let me just kind of bring people up to speed as to, again, who you are. Now, your organization, you are a marketing consultant, and you say a partner connector in the Raleigh area, but you also say expanding nationwide. So just kind of bring us to where you are with, now your organization, Triangle Solutions Alliance. We want to touch on that, but I want to focus on that expanding nationwide. So can you just tell us what you're doing with that?
Sure. Triangle Solutions Alliance is my corporation, my S Corp, and I actually have a separate division called We Care Partnerships Network, and that's my social enterprise division. That's where I do most of my community work from. But yeah, I've actually been network building. I have a wonderful friend named Jill Reed out in St. Louis, Missouri, who she and I are connected, and she represents a whole nother network of people that is interested in helping to build more things like business alliances and things of that nature across the country, where we're really bringing a lot of small businesses together and connecting them together where they can become full-scale solutions providers. That's what my vision has been for a number of years now. So between Jill and I, and Jill's going to be one of my speakers at Women Leading from the Heart, we've got a pretty expansive network, and we're hoping to launch a lot of different interesting initiatives out of this event this weekend.
All right, this is going to be, and the event that's coming up this weekend, I'm gonna get there.
It's okay.
I'm gonna kind of leave. We're gonna go down. We're gonna take a journey, and as we go down the road into that journey, we are gonna end up talking more about women leading from the heart, because I wanna know more about it. And I didn't know that you all were going up to D.C. This weekend coming up. So you're gonna have to bring me up to speed on that. But in your organization, you talk about the 3 divisions of that, and you talk about the educational division, the product division, and the community economic development division. So just kind of take us to task on how each one of those divisions work in your organization.
Sure. The education side, I look to partner with different organizations that are providing entrepreneurial training, and not necessarily in the traditional systems. I believe entrepreneurial training is best provided by entrepreneurs. And so I've been recruiting groups of entrepreneurs here locally that are willing to mentor folks who are wanting to get involved in entrepreneurial activities. And, along with partnering with the Business Alliance of North Carolina, who has a whole slew of entrepreneurial trainers. So that's part of what I'm looking to do with this nationwide expansion, is to have business alliances in other parts of the country that we can continue to bring the mentors, bring the educators to the table to be able to teach people everything from career transition to business startup to growing your business. So that's one module of it. The second module, which is products, is quite honestly, I am a huge believer that more people need to be engaged in network marketing, direct sales kinds of activities. And so my husband and I are actually involved in quite a number of companies, largely because not everybody's interested in being involved in the same type of company or the same kind of products. So we use those products as fundraising tools. That's one of the things that we are doing with things like our Women Leading from the Heart event, is we're using products like that for our fundraising to help pay for this trip to DC. And then the community development side, well, I've already touched on that a little bit. That's where we're going into the community, working in the shelters, working with formerly incarcerated people, and really starting to take people by the hand in a step-by-step, a stepping stone approach to teach entrepreneurship and help people to have success there. Because my career started as a manufacturing apprentice, and so I am very much into the idea of apprenticeship programs, and that's what we need more of to help expand our economy.
Okay, that's a lot in a nutshell, but at the same time, it's broken down into those divisions, so you can kind of see how, I guess, the process of what you're doing, of how that works. But also in that, I think what you are saying also is that it's kind of a mentor organization to where you take a wannabe entrepreneur and teach that wannabe entrepreneur what action steps to take before trying to launch a business of their own. But you are saying that people should become entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've worked with so many people who are long-term unemployed, and one of the things that I always say is you do not need anybody's permission to create an income. It's just a fact. But there are people who need more of a support structure and support system around them to make that happen than others. And that's why the mentoring and apprenticeship is so important. And that's why bringing existing small business owners to the table that are willing to mentor people, help them to work even in their business initially, doing sales and marketing activity, and gaining confidence on how they can actually produce income on their own before they step out and start trying to create something of their own.
So you are connected to the networks, you are connected to the companies and organizations and you're also connected to the individuals that need those companies and organizations to help them to become who they are and want to be. You are the connector.
I call myself the super connector.
I
actually have a website called thepartnerconnector.com, and that is a big part of what I love doing.
So, again, and before I go further, I do need to let the audience know that they can call in today to ask any questions or concerns that they have at 919-518-9773. We have Sheyenne Kreamer on today, and she is here to answer any questions or concerns from the community, from the audience, about what she does connecting the individual to the organizations and the companies, and also putting the companies and the organizations in touch with the individuals. So it's the services of finding the people who can provide those services, and the provider of those services are finding the individuals that can help them to do those services. It doesn't get any simpler than that. It's just a matter of matching. But a lot of times, why does that not happen so easily? I mean, what's the disconnect
Well,
that we're seeing out in the communities where people are not finding jobs or leads and, you know.
yeah. And there's a simple answer to that, is that too many of us do not have a productive network. As I used to be a technical recruiter, I've done a lot of career transition services over the years, and the fact still remains that 70% of all jobs are filled through referral. And so many people, whether you're talking about a long-term unemployed professional who's been trapped in a corporation for years, or whether you're talking about somebody sitting in a homeless shelter, they have the same challenge. They do not have a productive network. And so without that productive network, it becomes very difficult to find a job or to start a business. So that has been my long-term goal for 25 years, is to become that super connector force that can help to connect people to the resources and to the networks that they need to be able to find the opportunities they're looking for.
So would it be a stretch to say that people shouldn't have a difficult time finding what it is that they need and want out here if they understand one thing, how networking truly works?
That is such a key today. I mean, it's been a key for a long time. Everybody's heard of the good old boy network, and that still exists, is very alive and well. But the fact is that if you're not building a network and getting out here and meeting new people and finding out what's going on and doing that all the time, I have a friend named Paul Dean who says you got to dig your well before you're thirsty. And, most of us don't do that. So that's why it's important to find people who are the connectors, who are the super connectors. And I think both you and I fall into that category.
Oh, man, man, I feel honored to be in that category along with you. So, so thanks. Again, I want to back up to just what you just said. When you're talking about networking, I mean, we use that term so loosely that I think people take it for granted. Oh, I network, I did, But can you give them a little bit more meat and potatoes as to what networking is truly about, how networking truly works, so people walk away with some idea of what real networking is? Because I think people use that term so loosely that it get lost in the sauce. I'm networking, because you're passing out a business card. But give me the meat and potatoes of what networking really entails. And I think you just said it 10 times already, but I want to nail it in today, so people really get this.
I gotcha. Well, and let me put a little bit of a different spin on it, because a lot of what I do, I come from a very spiritually based place with a lot of the things that I'm doing. I believe that we all have a God-given potential, and we should all have the right and the ability to utilize that in whatever way we want. So when I think about networking, I think of it from the good old-fashioned, you need to give before you receive. And, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. And so when people go out to a networking event and their only idea is that they're going to slam business cards into somebody else's hand and expect they're going to walk out with 3 sales, that's not networking. That's predatory. And most people don't deal with it very well. So, my husband and I have mentored a few people along the way that started with that kind of attitude about networking, and we've helped them to understand that, first of all, if you're going to go out and network effectively, you better be coming up with a personal brand. Because if you're a realtor, an insurance agent, or even a network marketer where there's hundreds to thousands of you in the marketplace, you best be coming up with a way to make yourself stand out in the crowd so that people remember you. That's the first rule of networking. And then the second one is to go with the intention to see who you can assist. If you assist somebody else while you're out networking and you give to somebody else while you're out there, you will receive. And in the process of your giving, they're going to get to know who you are as well as what it is you do or what you sell. And those are the real key components to being out there and networking effectively.
Okay, I appreciate that breakdown, because I think people, again, they take the term networking loosely and think just because they were at an event or they went outside their house that they were networking, but there's a little bit more to networking. And to be an effective networker, then I think, as you just stated, those are some key ingredients to making networking your best friend. Making networking, that's your number one key to getting whatever it is that you do want out, whether it's a job, career, anything that you want. Networking, and again, like you said, having a referral base and knowing who's who in your circle and even outside your immediate circle. What did they say, that the power of three? You're three people from the person that can actually change,
like that.
That can actually change your life in some way. You're only three. So the three people that you know, the fourth person that you meet from those three people is probably the person that you need to meet that can change your life in some way.
Exactly.
And I've seen that happen numerous times, day in and day out. The power of three. Now I want to move into the book. Again, you mentioned the book, and you also mentioned Women Leading from the Heart. I want to tie these two together real quick because I think the book, the foundation of the book, speaks to the organization and what you all are going to be doing this weekend up in D.C. So can you hold up the book and kind of just talk about it again, about what's in the book, and we're going to move on into Women Leading from the Heart.
Okay. Well, the book first. The first thing I love people to know about the book is this picture was taken in Ferguson, Missouri. My husband and I were there shortly after the horrible meltdown that happened there a few years ago. And the picture says, help one another because we're all in the same boat. And most people don't think of it that way, but I do, because I've seen so many people who are caught in the unemployment trap, caught in the poverty trap, and the core reasons for it are all the same. The fact that they have an unproductive network, the fact that they have not given themselves permission to figure out how to create their own income. Those are the two biggest challenges for anybody who's caught in long-term unemployment or caught in the poverty trap. And, in the book, I talk about some of the things that I saw from working in and around the education system. I talk about things where, I love a lot of our nonprofits around here, and I love the work they do. Many of the executive directors I call friends, but they have restrictions and things that are stopping them from truly being able to be the true fix to some of these issues. There ends up being too many Band-Aids put on things that still keep people away from having a living wage of some sort. And then I also talk about the corporate structure and how that has played into it too, because I've been affected by all three. So, my book is very much about my experiences and my perspective in terms of how it all fits together. And as far as Women Leading from the Heart, we didn't start this way, but I've kind of got a subtitle to it now, and this one is for the love of our children. Because most of the folks who are going to D.C. with me this Saturday are women who are doing things for youth in the community. Some are teaching youth entrepreneurship. Some have helped kids that have been thrown out of school to get back in school and actually get through a high school graduation. We have a woman who is going to teach on how to take control of your health just by controlling your diet. She's had family members that have gotten rid of symptoms completely just by changing diet. So we're very much in this whole Women Leading from the Heart. We're giving examples of women who are doing three things. And this is the key that I'm talking about with Women Leading. They are remembering who they are, which for me means that they are understanding that they are a spiritual person who can and do more than what they believe they can. They are creating new solutions, and they're not necessarily being given money to do it. Most of them aren't getting paid to do this, but they're creating new solutions that are getting results for people. And then the third thing is building. We're looking to build new communities out of this event where people can learn from these women and have an opportunity to replicate what they do in their communities so that we can start a movement of creating more solutions and not sitting around waiting for politicians, government agencies, et cetera, to save us.
So, how many of you all are going to DC this weekend?
We have 12 women that are going to be speaking, so there's about 20 to 25 of us all together that are going, and we're publicizing it all over the place. But the bigger thing is that we've got somebody coming with us to videotape it, so we're going to document these ladies and have ongoing promotion for them. We're actually building a membership website for them, so people can get a free membership to our website who are interested in starting to learn from them.
So, what is the expected audience size that you all are going to be speaking in front of?
Who knows? We're going to be in front of the Thomas Jefferson Memorial from 11 to 4 on Saturday.
Wow.
And, you know, we've publicized this a lot of places. I'm going to say that I've probably heard from 50 to 100 people that think they might be interested in being there. But we're on the National Mall, and there's a lot of people walking through there. So, you know, we could attract a crowd. You never know. It's kind of an interesting aside. Again, this wasn't quite planned this way, but the gal who is our leadoff speaker was actually a independent 2012 candidate for president, and the gal who is going to close us out at the end of the day is actually an independent candidate for president in 2016.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
That's not why they're there. You know, this is not a political rally. It's not to
Right.
promote this presidential candidate, but it's the fact that she was willing to stand up, have courage, and file all that crazy paperwork with the federal commission so that she could actually make a go of it and run for president.
Let me move into that same thing. Now, from what I understand, you're saying that you did say in something that I read that where you said that those women, we should apply those business strategies to the community.
Yes.
To solve a lot of the problems that we're seeing in the community.
Yes. Yes. It's
Take
all
me
about
there.
social entrepreneurship.
Social entrepreneurship.
That's exactly it. And again, many of these women are involved in some way, shape, or form of either running a business that helps to fund their community activities, or they're teaching entrepreneurship, or some combination of the two. And to me, that's why I say we have our Triangle Solutions Alliance Corporation, but we have our We Care Partnerships division, which is a social entrepreneur division, and it's all about being able to use selling products to raise funds. It's all about business activity that solves community problems. And I'll tell you, my mentors were Ben and Jerry. I used to live very close to the first Ben and Jerry ice cream store, and they used to have something called partner shops. And they would set up nonprofits to own a Ben and Jerry's franchise, so that clients of the nonprofits could work in the franchise, and then profits from the franchise funded the nonprofits. That's the kind of model we need to be building more.
Mm. And I hope people got that and understand it, because I think that's the true way that we're going to move forward with everything that we're doing. I think that's just the direction in which we need to move forward now. But can you also let people know how to get in touch with you, if there's a website or social media connections that they can make to get in touch with you, and also the event that's coming up this Saturday in DC. Mm-hmm. What can they do now to be a part of that if they want to go on that trip to get there, and also how to connect with you beyond that? I know you said you're connected to the Business Alliance, so just tell us how to get in touch with you.
Sure. A lot of people reach me through my my Triangle Solutions Alliance website, which is just triangleSolutionsAlliance.com. I've gotten quite a few emails from there recently. But you can also find Women Leading from the Heart on Facebook. If you just search for Women Leading from the Heart, you will find through there, you'll find our event. You will find our website. Our website gives you the whole agenda, gives you information about all of our lady heroines, as I call them. They're our wonderful unsung heroines who really need to be applauded for getting off the bleachers, getting on the playing field, and making a difference in our communities. So those are the easiest ways to reach me.
All right, and you all have heard from Sheyenne Kreamer about the event that's coming up this weekend. You also have heard about the book. Now, have this book been just recently released?
It's been out for about a year, and it's on Amazon.
On Amazon?
Yep, if you just look up Building the New Underground Railroad, you'll find it.
Okay, and there's also Barnes and Nobles and
No, it's not into retail outlets, so
Okay.
it's on Amazon and available through me in the local marketplace as well.
All right. Well, Sheyenne, listen, I look forward to us continuing not just to pass each other, you going west and I'm going east,
That's right.
and vice versa, but I think at some point we're going to stop and figure out, because everybody that I guess I work with and you work with is in that circle, the bigger circle. I was in a networking, well, they want to network with me, but we ended up networking, and people kept saying, Terrence, we know you, and it was through you that they knew me, and I was a little thrown off, but I'm like, yeah, because every time we do have a lot of these same the same networks that we travel in. We both do a lot with the community, and I guess it was no way that people, if they are doing things in the community, they are going to run into you or myself. So
That's true.
that just happened. But again, I appreciate you coming by the show, and feel free to come back anytime that you want to. There's always a seat here to my left for you. So
Thank you
again,
so
thanks,
much.
and I hope you all have a safe trip on the when y'all leaving Friday night.
We're leaving Friday night. Yep.
All right. Well, take care, be safe, and hopefully I'll see you when you get back.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks,
right.
Terrence.
Thank you. And I'm going to move right on into the next half of the show. So what I want to do at this point is just kind of transition from, we just finished speaking with Sheyenne Kreamer, but now we do have, we have Frank Jordan that's coming on the show. And we know Frank Jordan from probably the first the first 1 or 2 episodes that we did off the show. He came on. He spoke about the book that he had out at the time. So again today, I want to thank Frank Jordan for being here again today, and he's going to talk about a new book that he has out, and the new book is called The Greatest Show on Earth. Now, I want to know more about The Greatest Show on Earth, and I want you all to know more about what The Greatest Show on Earth is all about. So, again, we have Frank Jordan. Frank, how you doing?
I'm all right, Brother Terrence. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Help me pronounce your middle name, because I know we say, I'm going to let you say it instead of me, but I know on all your books, when I just say Frank Jordan, but
Right.
it's Frank Zaaqan?
Zaaqan.
Zaaqan. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, how you doing?
I'm all right. And I just want to say thank you for having me again. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Man, anytime if you're doing any books or promotions, or I like running into you. You're also one of the guys that a lot of times in the same circle we run into. We know a lot of the same people.
Right, correct.
In what we do, but also let me just share with the audience who you are, and well, actually I'm gonna let you share who you are, but as an educator, and you also say as a world history historian.
Yes.
And also I know you as a Black history author, but talk about the world history historian side of your nature and your background and experience. And just tell us a little bit about, again, who Frank Jordan is and how you got into this incredible work of writing about this book now, The Greatest Show on Earth, but the other book that you had out, I guess it was, I know we talked, it's probably about 6 months ago, but 500 Years of American Deception.
Yeah.
I want to touch on that one again today too, but just give us a little bit about you, Frank.
Yes. About 30 years ago is when I really started actually researching, and there was various things that was going on throughout America as far as like injustices. And you know, this is like some of the stuff that we can't really look upon lightly, because actually the same things that are going on 30 years ago that were going on 30 years ago are actually coincidentally are the same things that are going on today. You know, different time, same venue, same stage. So the more that I researched, you know, me myself being raised in a church, knew something was, you know, very much wrong, you know, as far as like what the pastor would say and versus what I would see with my own eyes. So very, you know, I feel very blessed that I actually ran into a few gentlemen that actually showed me different as far as like the things that were actually going on, you know, in comparisons to what black people face every day. You know, the plight of the black man and the black woman, Hispanic, Native American Indians, as far as like what they suffered, you know, throughout the communities and what they suffered in the past. Everything was opened up to me as far as like shown to me historically. And it was conducive to what actually, beyond belief of what people may say, is actually in the Bible. You know, so the more I researched and the more questions I had, the more I found it to be true. And like I said, the last time I was on here, the more lies I uncovered.
Okay. Now, the last time that you was on, we talked about your first book, The 500 Years of American Deception. Mm-hmm. But in that conversation, just the cover of that book, can you tell us, before we get into the new book, but the cover of the first book, right. Tell us about the creation of that cover and what that cover means, because it has, that cover has some, I won't say hidden secrets in it, but in actuality, a lot of what's in that cover is not what's revealed openly. It's kind of like a secret code in some of the depiction of that, and you don't have that book today, but that cover, can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. What I had on the cover, I had 5 presidents. You had from Gerald Ford to Nixon to George Bush Sr. to George Bush Jr. Actually, I had Jimmy Carter on there as well. And what a lot of people don't understand and what our people fail to realize, as far as like our parents and the people that was before them, we voted these men into office, just like we voted, you know, Theodore Roosevelt. You have guys like Abe Lincoln, just like today's, you know, as far as like the voting that's going on today, you know, which is a joke, you know, you know, Trump and Hillary, I mean, it's the equivalent to a Tom and Jerry show. I mean, I'm gonna be totally honest with you, you know, because here it is, and I'm gonna get back to it. Here it is. You have, you know, 2 snakes. You know, one is a copperhead and one is a rattlesnake. I mean, you know, pick your poison. You know, which one gonna bite you quicker? You know, I mean, one's gonna bite you and kill you faster. The other one's gonna kill you a little bit more slower. But as far as the cover that's on my book, you know, our people have to realize this one thing is that, you know, nothing has worked for us, you know, as far as like voting, you know, you know, in a myriad of things, religion, you know, you find more religion amongst the black community as far as like being a Muslim, being a Baptist, being a Roman Catholic. How's a black man gonna be a Roman Catholic? You know, Jehovah's Witness. You know, so none of these things have worked for us, you know, as far as even as voting. You know, you had millions of black people that voted for Barack Obama 4 years ago, 8 years ago. He's still in the office, you know, even up till today. You know, really, what has changed? You know, I'm gonna put it out there. You know, what has really changed for the blacks in the community? You know, since Barack Obama got in the office, there's more killings in Chicago. You got more drugs in the black community. You got more black women that's homeless. You got more homelessness in the black community. Nothing has worked for us. I mean, you know, I don't want to throw a blanket on the fire, you know, but what our people fail to realize is that America really, biblically wise and historically wise, this is the land of our captivity. You know, it's nothing wrong with trying to go to school and trying to further yourself financially wise. Nothing wrong with that. But as far as, you know, the things on a wide scale and on a wide margin, you have to realize something is terribly wrong. You know, we voted. You know, we tap dance. You know, we sing. We go on American Idol. We are on reality shows. You know, the black man, you know, have to put the Xbox down. He got to stop smoking weed and drinking Hennessy. And he has to realize it's something more going on, okay, in America besides an Xbox game and smoking weed and physically putting your hands on the black woman. It's something more than that that's going on. All the police brutality that we see throughout America is happening for a reason. You know, we just had a flood and a hurricane that just happened here, you know, on the East Coast of the United States a couple of days ago. It's going to get worse. These are telltale signs of the end, regardless of what your pastor is saying, which he's financially gaining off of your poorness and your suffering. It's more to it than just that. We got to open up our eyes, and we got to put the reality remote TV down, and we got to put the Xbox game down. And black man, put the weed down and pull your pants up on your behind, okay? And you have to realize it's more in America that's going on and very deceptive to the eye.
All right, I'm gonna let Amnon have a question, and we're gonna dive.
I was just reading one of an excerpt from one of the speeches that she gave that came out on WikiLeaks, and Hillary,
right.
And she's saying that blacks in this country, unlike, and she mentioned Jews, Chinese, and Indians, that whatever the situation is, whatever their situation, they always manage, and they know how to get up, get a job, do all these things. Blacks are not like that. Blacks will always depend on the system because they don't know how to get on their own to get it. Is there any truth to that? I can't believe it. I mean, I know a lot of black people that are successful, educated, have great jobs. I mean, look at you guys.
So let me.
I mean, I don't
understand.
understand.
Let me dive in before you answer the question, because I want to go back to what you did say was that blacks have gravitated to religion that hasn't worked for them.
Correct.
You say that Obama being in office hadn't worked for him.
Correct.
So you said nothing. You said nothing has worked. But from what I'm hearing you and Amnon say, now y'all piece together for me, I don't see where it hasn't worked, but I don't see where it's been. I don't see where it's been highly effective. But I think blacks have been able to, you know, we are survivors, and we are resilient. So regardless of what's thrown at us, or either what we gravitate to, I feel like we always make it. We always find a way to make it. So when you say that nothing has worked, I feel like some is working because we still here. I'm not saying from what he's heard that we always have heard that we as black people are lazy, this, that, and a third, and you know they are. Of course, we're gonna always hear that, but I say, you know, in one ear and out the other, because I know we strive and work hard and we still here. So it can't be out of laziness that we're still here, because with what the black men have gone through in this society in general, then you can't be lazy and be still here. But I think there's still ways and things that we have to do, and we have to continue to stay strong, be focused, and not be divided. So I just wanted to put that piece in there to interject that before.
I agree wholeheartedly.
You know, before you do answer that, and we'll go forward.
Right, correct. Let me just shed some light on that real quick. I'm gonna bring you back to the Vietnam War. I'm gonna bring you back to the Vietnam War, which I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with. Here it is. You have a war that was fought overseas in Vietnamese. And pretty much a lot of people, what they don't understand is that was the beginning and end for the black family. Prior to the 60s and before the Vietnam War, you had more black unity within Harlem, Chicago, throughout the United States. You had the Black Panthers that was actually together trying to actually unite blacks and make them actually come together and converge with one another and to start their own businesses. You had Black Wall Streets. You had black communities, you know, throughout the South. You had black farm networks. Now, here's the catch right here. during the time of the Vietnam War, okay, the United States acquired over, and you may not hear this ever again, the United States acquired over 5,000 acres of land over in Vietnamese. So what they had to do, they actually were growing poppy fields, which is known as what? You can't have heroin without poppy fields. You may not never hear this again. And so what they did, they had to have a recruitment of men, which mostly were black men over in Vietnam. And what they did is this, and the United States is just so slick and they're so coy about certain things. I'm gonna tell you, man, so what they did, they had a large recruitment, okay, of young blacks and Puerto Ricans, okay, over to Vietnam, and they grew the poppy fields and injected them with heroin, which was an experiment. That's all they did. They got them away from the black woman, okay, because how do you kill a nation off? You take the man out of the household. Without the man, there's no head, okay? There's no head. You can't really run, you can't really raise your family correctly, okay, without the man being in the house. So what they did during the 60s, they said, hey, listen, these black people, they're coming together a little bit more. You got the Black Panther movement. You had Malcolm X. You had the Muslim movement. So they said, look, we got to put an end to this thing right here. So what they did, they acquired land, and I'm coming to your answer right here. They acquired land over Vietnamese, and they experimented with black men and Hispanics over there in Vietnam War. And while the black man was over there in Vietnam, what they so coyly did, they put a piece of paper before the black woman and said, hey, listen, okay, the black man, he's over in Vietnam. He's not coming home no time soon. Into the welfare and reform bill. Okay, we'll give you food, we'll give you a little bit of money, okay, we'll put money in your pocket, okay, if you sign right here. Okay, so then again, when the black man comes back, it was a point to that right there. You can have all of this, you can have all the food stamps you want, you can have all the money you want monthly, but you got to keep that black man out of the house. Okay, so when the black man came back from the Vietnam War, now you got a full-blown junkie. Now the black woman looking at him like, I don't need you in the household. That was the beginning of the separation of the black family right there. You can take a black woman, once a black man is gone, you can do really whatever you want to do, okay, because now it's weakened down. Now the black woman, now she's looking, okay, and she's, the word that you use, now she's reliant, okay, on the system now, and that's how it started from that moment right there. Look, let me say this, when the North American Indians, I'm going to throw this point out there, when the North American Indians was over here during the time before Columbus, we had the best irrigation system. We had water. We had meat. We had farms. We didn't need Columbus to come over here and enslave us and rob and rape and give us smallpox. We didn't need that. Okay? It seems like every time when the Europeans put their foot in something, and this not only goes for the United States, this goes worldwide. Why do you think, let me ask y'all a question. Why do you think that every time over in Afghanistan, you have places like Russia, you have places over in Africa, even Israel itself. Why do you think there's wars going on throughout the United States? Okay, every time, okay, the Europeans put their nose in something, it's always confusion. The black people, we had our own doctors, we had our own lawyers, we had our own offices, we had our own hospitals, we had our own farming systems. And so we didn't need integration. We didn't need Martin Luther King to stand up and say, you know, we want to sit in the same restaurants as the Europeans. For what? What do we want? Not me. That's for sure. Okay, we didn't have drugs in our community. We didn't have bad water. We didn't have bad air system. Where did all of this stuff come from? Okay, where did all of this come from? As soon as the Europeans come in and as soon as they stick their nose in something, things just go airy. Okay, because that's their nature. Okay, and what the point I'm trying to get at is what you were saying as far as like reliable on the system. They created a debt system for us. This country doesn't belong. Okay, to white America. It belongs rightfully so to the North American Indians. Okay, they came over here, rape, robbed, and murdered. I'm not going to social intelligence. I know you know history, and I know you know a plethora of history. They came over and stole this land from our brothers and sisters, and what they did, they rented it back to us. How the hell you going to rent? You going to come over here? That's like me going to your house, okay, telling you to get out, and I'm paying you rent. If you want to stay here, okay, you got to pay me $500 a month, and that's what they did. So of course we're going to rely upon them, okay, for everything, and of course we're going to rely upon, and we're going to seem like the laziest people in the world because what they've done, they've taken over what rightfully doesn't belong to them.
Frank, you said a mouthful, but there's been a lot going on.
Gotta get it all in.
So again, we want to go back to the name of your new book, The Greatest Show on Earth, and you kind of touched on that with some of the thing that you just spoke about. You know, what's going on in America and abroad is the title, The Greatest Show on Earth. So I guess that's part of the show that you're talking about. that deception is like a joke that's being played. It's like this show. You know, you give me the antidote to the title of your book, The Greatest Show on Earth, because from what you said, what's been going on is kind of like they've been sneaking in. It's kind of been the undercurrent to cause a lot of chaos, and that's the show that we're seeing. I guess it looks like tap dancing and everything else is going on.
What do you think about when you hear the greatest show on earth?
I mean,
what do you think about?
Well, you think about the circles
Right,
and so forth, and when you think about the circles, you think about all the different things that people do in the circles that are amazing. You'd be like, dumbfounded about how do they do that. So, and I think you're applying that to, what's been going on in America. How do they do that? But you got some of the inside tracks on how it was done, and you just shared with us. Even like the Vietnam War, how that was done on one hand, it's like a magic trick. But then on the other hand, it looks like a trick, but actually they got a hidden agenda that's really going on.
Correct.
So we're not seeing the hidden agenda until after the fact. By then, like when you when you take the male out of the home, and plus you're injecting them with heroin, and then you send them back home to a woman that you're saying, if you take these government assistance, then you can't have him in the home.
Absolutely.
Then you've just deceived America in the way you are trying to promote the black family.
Right.
You're saying the black man ain't no good. Look at him, he's a junkie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's kind of, and when you say the greatest show on earth, I get that from the book. But you say the destruction of a chosen nation. Why do you say the destruction of a chosen nation? Why was the nation chosen in the first place? Why do you think they picked that nation? The nation of Africa would be
right.
Yeah, in the first place, and then I guess they just took that and every other country since then they've infiltrated Africa so bad to where it was the most fundamentally most productive place to be in the world during that beginning time in history. Up until now, they've raped it. They've raped Africa at this point. Frank, I'm gonna let you chime in.
Correct. Correct. One of the things our people have to realize is that when you had the bulk during the transatlantic slave trade, when you had the bulk of the slaves that was being traded down in West Africa during the time of King Dahomey, you had the French, you had the British, and you had the Arabs that was selling black Jews from off that coast. Okay, just like the Bible says in Deuteronomy 28:68. Okay, we were brought over here to the shores of America throughout North Central and South America to work and to slave, okay, and to be slaves for our enemy. Now, as far as like the greatest show on earth comes, the black man here in America, along with the black woman, we suffer from a grave illness called identity crisis osis. Okay, you have the black woman that goes out, and try to portray what she really, indecisively, and what she really does indirectly. You try to be like a European woman, down to the weave, down to the way she looked, the makeup, the way that she actually presents herself, and the way that she carries herself. Okay, because we're in a land where our oppressors is ruling, and whatever we see, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to follow. Okay, if you look on a magazine and you see Paris Hilton, and if you see Britney Spears for 25, 35, 50 years of your life, who are you going to try to emulate? Just like the same thing, it's a show. Just like you can't go in the Bible and you can't find where it says Christ was born on December the 25th. Columbus Day was just the other day, which was yesterday. Okay, and you have, Columbus is one of the biggest murderers on this planet. But yet and still you have people that celebrate the day. This dude killed thousands, of North American Indians. And what he had with him, he had his homeboy along with him, a guy called Sir Walter Raleigh. They were actually commissioned, okay, by Queen Isabella and her husband, okay, King Ferdinand, to go and to rob the nation of Israel, just like they're robbing us today. We're the white man's, I'm gonna put it out there, we're the white man's toys, okay? You got guys that play for the NBA, you got guys that play baseball and basketball, you got entertainers, You know, we're like their toys and we're like their entertainment. You know, that's why they got the arenas, just like the Roman times, which I wrote in the book too. It's symbolic. Okay, the same arenas that was back then during the time of Rome. What are they called today? They're called stadiums. Okay, and you have to have actors, you have to have entertainers, and you have to have people to what? Excite, and you have to have people to look at. Our people is like a joke. Okay, the way we conduct ourselves in America. You got young black men walking around with their pants off their behind, black men physically abusing black women. Okay, we're like a joke. You know, like I said, it's like we're like entertainers. Okay, we're the greatest show on earth because they have, and we have allowed them to disconnect, okay, ourselves from the Heavenly Father, from our power source. So how do they do that? They put in things like 4th of July, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter, things that don't have nothing to do with the Bible when you read it. So through what? Practice and through time and through the key word is called conditioning of people's minds, we're going to do these things. And what our people going to do and our parents, they're going to teach it to us. Okay, and what that does, that spiritually disconnects us from our power source. Okay, the black man and the black woman here in America are the real Jews and the Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Okay, contrary to belief, the popes know it. Okay, Queen Isabella, they know it. Okay, the prince, okay, over in England, they all know it. They conspired together thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, and came up with a decree how they're going to keep us enslaved, how they're going to keep us dumb with religion, okay, and with the food that we eat, which I spoke about actually in the book as well, too. A lot of things that our people go to the supermarket and they buy. They don't know what polysorbate mean or diglycerate mean. Okay, so what you do, you feed it to your kids. All that stuff is in baby food. All that stuff is in the milk, the Similac. They don't want nobody breastfeeding. They don't want nobody breastfeeding babies no more. Why? That's the strength, but that's how a baby keeps strong. But they want you to take Similac, okay, in a dry powder, and that leads to cancer later on in life. That leads to autism. That's why so much autism and bipolar back from the crack era, back in the 80s. Okay, that's why you have kids now that's in their 20s now that's suffering from bipolar now and ADHD. That's an offset and offspring from the crack era back in the 80s, and I talked about that in my book as well, too.
And your book is, again, titled The Greatest Show on Earth. But also, I want you to tell people how to get your book, and I know you said it's on Amazon, and they should remember the title, The Greatest Show on Earth, and why it's the greatest show on earth. But one other thing that you said, too, is about we are a joke because we are, the white man in America just use us for entertainment.
Correct.
So I want to touch on that because I've always been baffled by why do they pay a person $1 million to go slam dunk a basketball, or millions of dollars to hit a baseball, or millions of dollars to run up and down a football field. But you take a man and you put him in the military to serve his country, to fight for his country, and you give him peanuts, and when he come back home, you don't have anything for him. So the people that really try to, that you put to protect you and to protect this country, you give very little to.
Right.
But the ones who, as you said, who entertain you, as long as they're entertaining you, you're giving them millions because they are entertaining you. But I take that a step further to say, even as they are entertaining you, as long as they are entertaining you, then you're fine. But when you see the entertainers, after you give them those millions, and then when they step outside of entertainment, now you take the Muhammad Ali, when he stepped outside of entertainment,
Like Muhammad Ali.
then they didn't want to, they didn't want to endorse him at that point, because now he's not just entertaining, now he's a thinker.
Right.
They didn't want to see him as a thinker, a mover and a shaker. They just want to see him as an entertainer, get in the ring and make us some money,
Right.
and many others along the way that were boisterous outside of entertainment. Once they used their entertainment, their platform, for other things besides entertaining the powers that be, then they become a threat to society.
Right.
And you'll see a high-tech lynching that goes on in America. You've seen it happen to Bill Cosby and many others, how they'll put you in the media and they tear you down from who they've made you up to be to who they want you to be in the public. They spit you out, chew you up and spit you out at that point. But I say that to say, because as long as you stay in entertaining, they're fine with you. You get outside of that arena, they want to cut your throat, then you become too big. Even with Michael Jackson, when he was singing and dancing and doing all his steps on stage, he was fine. But when he bought the Beatles music and started doing other things and started trying to be a savior of the world, then you saw the high-tech lynching, to where they took what he was trying to do for good and made it look like he was trying to do for bad, tried to even make him a pedophile to the public, when in essence, everybody knows Michael Jackson have always had a love for children and tried to take care of the world. But in showing that, they flipped the script on him because he stepped outside the arena of making music to, you know, a bigger consciousness, and that ain't how they wanted him to be perceived. So they lynched him in the media, you know. But Frank, I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Let me get you to hold up your book. Amnon have a question.
Do you mind going a few more minutes?
Oh, I don't mind. I don't mind if you don't. But again, the book is The Greatest Show on Earth. By Frank Jordan, and also Frank has the book 500 Years of American Deception. Those two books are on Amazon.com.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was going to ask. So
We're going into
so the
overtime
book
now.
is there. That's fine. I mean, but it's important, I think.
Absolutely.
The book. So you know what's wrong. What's the solution?
Right.
What can you do? What can the average person do to correct or to alleviate this problem?
Right. That's a good question. That is a very good question. What we have to do, we have to come back to our nationality. We got to come back to our power source. Okay, and what we got to realize is this, and that's a really good question. Everything has failed for us here in America, in the land of our captivity. And what the brother Terrence was saying, as far as like entertainers, and there's always been a caste system. Even from the time of Pharaoh, there's always been a caste system. You had certain Israelites, and you had certain children of Israel that was always experimented on. And who are these people that's being experimented on today? They're people that live in the less financially, let's just say, governed neighborhoods. The ones that live in the hood, the ones that live in the projects. Those are the ones that's always getting experimented on with the drugs, with the abortion clinics around the corner, with the bad beer. You don't find stuff like this in European stores, bad beer and 40 ounces of beer and beer called Lightning 2000. You see wine stores, just like the same thing like you were saying as far as like basketball players. You ever notice, and I wrote about this in my book, you ever notice that in every black community there's a basketball court? And you ever notice that there's like a baseball field or a football field in every black community? But when you go to a white community, what do you have? You have golf courses. You have tennis courts. You have libraries. Okay, the same system, okay, that white America was doing during the time of slavery, of breeding bucks, is the same thing that goes on today. Psychologically, if you're a young kid growing up in black America in housing projects, every day you looking down on a basketball court or a pool hall, what are you going to do? You're going to act, so you're going to try it every once in a while. And what's that's called? That's called modern day breeding of bucks. That's what that's called. We must return ourselves back to the Heavenly Father here in these last days. Everything has a beginning and everything has an ending. History is on our side. History proves that there's a beginning and there's an ending. Every society, it has a beginning and an ending. The Egyptians, they had their time to rule. The Babylonians during the time of Nebuchadnezzar. America doesn't have much time left. Why do you think everything that's in the Bible is conducive to what's going on today? The Bible is the most underrated, and it's the biggest black history book known to mankind. A lot of people don't know this, That's the reason why people always say, well, the Bible's a white man's book. No, he couldn't have wrote the book, And I got over 300 history books, that I've collected, over a period of 25 years. And when you go back and when you look at the history of the Roman Empire, and when you look at Russian history, you'll know that they have black icons in these churches in Italy, Where did these all of a sudden, where did this stuff come from? During the time of the Renaissance period, you had guys like Picasso, Rembrandt, Michelangelo, that was paid a commission by the popes during that time to recreate, black art into white art. The man that you see that's posing for the picture of Christ and the Savior is a man called Caesar Borgia. Look him up. Look him up. His name is Caesar Borgia, second-born son of Alexander VI of Rome. Look him up. That's the same man that posed to the picture of Christ. But when you go back and you do research, you find that Christ is a black man. He still is a black man. Woolly hair, afro. These are facts. These are facts. Okay, but why aren't our pastors teaching us about this? Because all they cares about is money. Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes, all they cares about is money. That's about it. Okay, they pull up to church every day in a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, but the congregation is riding a 57 bus. That absolutely makes no sense at all. Absolutely makes no sense at all. Because why? Because they're being taught and they're being learned up on the Roman doctrine that was taught by them. Okay, through seminary schools. And through that, they teach it to the people. That's why everybody, look, you don't look. I know I'm going a little off beat because I'm really shocked that you guys had me on this long. Okay, but okay, I'm really shocked that you guys had me on this long. It's maybe my last time on this show, but I'm trying to get it all out. But but listen, you gotta, facts is facts. Right. So you gotta kind of, and I could pull some of the stuff out of my book. You gotta ask yourself, why was this done? Why was the black art changed?
I'm not worried about why it was done, because it was done.
Right, absolutely.
So let's that rest.
Right.
If you fall and you hurt your knee.
Correct.
I mean, it's bleeding. Now,
right.
What do you do to stop it and help it heal?
We have to return ourselves.
That's the thing.
Right. Right. The black man, black woman, we have to return ourselves back to the standards.
It's not just black men and black women. There are a lot of
Puerto Ricans. Right. West Indians, Mexicans.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, Brazilians. Right. We must return ourselves back, okay, to the ways and the law, statutes, commandments that the Bible teaches. That's our only. America's immoral. America's never been in compliance of moral anything.
Yeah, we took God out of the everything.
Right. They've never been in compliance in moral laws of anything. They make their own laws up that's conducive, okay, to what the Bible says. Okay, as far as like homosexuality. Okay, as far as like homosexuality. It's a law in the Bible in the book of Leviticus that teaches and talks against homosexuality. America uplifts that. We vote for the people that's either Republican or Democratic, okay, that uplifts these laws. Okay, so now you got America, and now you got black men on these reality shows trying to effeminate and try to push the program of Satan and trying to feminize the black men. Because why? Because once again, that's a coy and that's a tactic, okay, to destroy the black homes. Okay, if you got a young black man out here today with his pants off his butt, wearing lipstick, showing mommy she got fingernails on and lipstick and her hair weaved down. I said, what the hell do you think your son gonna do after a while? Okay, putting on perfume and stuff like that. So was this a plan, a devised plan? You better believe it, okay? Because now you got a lot of black women and you got a lot of shows that's out here, okay, reality shows, where back in the 60s, you didn't see George and Wheezy, you never saw them sleeping together, or you never seen two men sleeping together. Okay, that goes to show you that the immortality that America has come to, this place has got, it has to end. The only way this place, okay, the only way that we're going to see anything happen for us, this wicked society has to be destroyed. We know everybody want to turn up, and we know the black woman want to continue hitting the black man upside the head with a frying pan. Okay, we know they want to continue to see these things. Okay, but this place has got to end. The only way police brutality is going to stop and the black man going to stop being murdered, okay, this place has to come to an end. A black man named Yahushua, he has to come back and get us out of this condition that we're in.
So you're saying we're headed for self-destruction?
Yeah, we're headed for self.
No, but wait a second. See, this is almost like you are relying on somebody else to come do it for you. I don't go for that.
Absolutely.
I think people need to do it for themselves,
right,
in the right way.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that breaking and looting Walmart is going to fix anything. I don't think that going and shooting people. No, I know.
Okay.
But there's got to be a way that people can open their eyes, stand up, and say, enough.
Right.
Guys, what are you doing? Here is what, I mean, I'd like to see some of those leaders stand up and say, guys, from now on, here is what you do.
Right.
This,
let me
Wouldn't that make more sense?
You hit on something real important. Let me just say this real quick. Hold your point. You hit on something real important. And the key word right there is leaders. Okay? The black man, we don't have any leaders in this society. You got guys like William Barber, the head of the NAACP. I know that's a personal friend of yours. I'm sorry. But, you know, I know y'all buddies. Okay, so you got guys like that. You got Martin Luther King. The last leader that we had, the last true leader was a guy by the name of Malcolm X, and they just killed off Khalid Muhammad. But our true leader, okay, is our big brother called Yahushua, called Christ. Okay, now let me say this too. A real leader, okay, goes into society and they recognize society what it's for, like I'm doing. Okay, as far as like teaching people, writing about it, okay, going and telling our people the problems, not shortcutting nothing, not telling our people we need to side up with our enemies, okay, and get no justice, no peace. All black lives matter. Now all of a sudden, all lives matter. We can't have nothing. Our people, our kids can't even get shot and murdered without other nations coming in and hijacking our struggle. That's a damn shame right there. So the key thing is this, and you said something very important as far as leaders. We don't have any leaders. We don't have any leaders.
Why?
The leaders that we have has sold us out. Okay, the only thing that look. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Look at Al Sharpton. Okay, back inside, yeah, yeah. Even you upset.
Yeah,
look,
forget that.
back in the '80s, Al Sharpton was mad. He was upset. Okay, he was mad when the black people used to get shot down in the street, roll around with a jogging suit on, with sneakers on, going around putting X's on drug houses. Now they said, okay, now Al getting a check. Okay, now they said that's all you wanted. Okay, to keep you quiet, Al, that's all you wanted was a check. Here you go. Where's Al at today? You don't see Al no more. You don't see Jesse Jackson no more. All of those guys got a check and they're paid off. We don't have no leaders. The only person we're going to depend on, and which we've been dependent on, and history is on our side. When you look at history, you always notice that the Heavenly Father always did miracles for the nation of Israel, went through the Red Sea, He fought for us, rained man out of the sky. That's who we need to return ourselves back to. Reality shows, listening to Oprah Winfrey, okay, listening to people that are unproductive to us in the society is not going to do it for us. Worrying about LeBron James, worrying about if Steph Curry, if the Golden State Warriors is going to make the championship or getting this shit. How productive is that to the black community? What the hell is that all about? You want to say something? Yeah, it's funny,
I
but
do.
it's true.
Well, I want to say this because from what Amnon is saying and from what you are saying, when I'm looking at the two perspectives, you kind of speak of gloom and doom. Like if we don't get back to the spiritual fathers' teachings, that we're all going to hell in a boat. We all,
Not necessarily.
Right, but what my point is, we do need to do something different because, like you said before, what's been done thus far hasn't worked to our advantage wholeheartedly. But I don't want to think that we're headed for self-destruction, like this world got to come to an end before anything is going to change. I believe in self-actualization, that man has the ability to change himself with the mentality and the heart and soul that every man has with mankind.
Absolutely.
That we can always pull ourselves up from our bootstraps, and we may need to tear this society down and start over in the rebuilding and restructure of getting back to the basics, of what life is truly about. Life is truly about helping one another, building relationships. But when I hear you're saying, we shouldn't partner with the enemy, but we're all right here together, and nobody's going anywhere.
Right.
So if nobody's going anywhere, then we need to figure out how to work alongside one another, and nobody be the lesser one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't be the lesser one and somebody else be be expected to be the higher. Well, we're first class citizens, you second class, then you're third class. No, it can't operate like that. It's got to be we're all equal. Everybody put their pants on the same way. Every man come to this earth.
Only way.
Every man come to this earth through woman.
Right. Right.
Every man come to this earth through woman. I don't care whether you're black, white, Puerto Rican, or whatever.
Right.
You come through the womb.
Right.
And you go into the tomb.
Right.
Before you leave this earth.
Right. Let's stop and let's stop and let's think about this for a minute. What he just said, as far as like equality and everybody, right. But what you got to understand is that what I said earlier, as far as like, you got to understand, this is the European and this is the British kingdom. It goes further than just, I'm going to the bank for a bank loan and saying, okay, give me $10,000. Let me go and let me get a house. Okay, and now all my problems are solved. It goes further than that. Okay, what you got to understand is that everybody was given a certain disposition of time to rule this earth. Okay, the last people on this earth, okay, to rule this earth, it goes further than what you guys are saying. It has to be slaves. It has to be servants. This is the way a kingdom works. You have to have servants. Even in the ant kingdom, they have workers and they have that queen ant that just sits back and gives out the orders. Okay, even in a lion kingdom, in the world of the fish, you have to have servants. Have the Negroes, Western and Puerto Ricans, Haitians, Dominicans, Have we been servants to white America? Absolutely. You better believe it. Okay, so it's no way. You may say, okay, well, let me go to school to a HBCU college over here at Central University in North Carolina, Howard, and acquire a degree. All a degree is a bill of 4 years. That's all it is. When you hang a degree on your wall, you're hanging a 4-year bill on your wall and saying you owe every month, okay, for going to school, okay, for 4 or 8 years. That's all.
Unless,
okay,
unless
that's all
you
it
take
is.
care of, unless you take advantage of what
How
you
many?
learned.
Right. How many? Right. How many? Right. Absolutely. Right. So how many people? Let's look. Let's take a poll here. I know we're going into overtime. Let's take a poll here. Yeah. Let's take a poll here. How many people have truly? I mean, be honest. Okay. How many people have truly went to school and actually said, okay, well, I'm gonna go to school for engineering. I know people that actually have 4 8-year degrees in engineering and they're actually shoe salesmen. Okay,
Yeah.
or they're head of nuggets at Burger King. Okay, they actually are counting back nuggets, okay, in inventory, saying, okay, there's 1 nugget, 2 nugget, 3 nugget, but they have a degree. Okay, so my thing is you got to kind of look at that also. You got to kind of say, is that a tactic also? Okay, and say, well, you know, maybe they're not applying themselves, you know, enough in society. You know, they got the degree, they got to apply themselves. All it is a bill of a 4-year.
But Frank, you're getting away from what? From
you better call me Frank too. Yeah.
You're talking about.
It's fine. No. Okay, right. We got the return.
And you keep talking about Israel and all that. You know, to go back to, I mean, Jesus is not my heavenly Father because I'm Jewish. Over there.
Oh, that's another topic.
Now wait a second.
All right.
Over there are Palestinians and Israelis.
Mm-hmm.
Situation a lot worse than between the blacks and the whites here. A lot worse. The only way
really?
that there is going to be peace is if these people will learn to live together.
How many years have they been trying that?
I know.
Right.
I know.
So
but that's the only thing. If they go back to their God tells them to do one thing on one side and the other God tells the other side to do something else.
That's my point.
It's not going to work.
Right. You're right. You're actually validating my point. How many years have the Negroes been over here marching, singing, dancing, voting? We shall overcome, tap dancing, being on Apollo, smiling, grinning, tap dancing, going to Bojangle, eating chicken, having picnics, getting lynched. How many years have we been doing that? Voting. Okay. How many years have we been doing? Nothing has worked for us.
Right.
Okay. Nothing has worked for us. So what you got to look at is this. It's a spiritual. It's more spiritual than anything. We're in a warfare. We're in a warfare. A spiritual warfare.
That's the right word.
With our enemy. We're in a spiritual warfare with our enemy. And what you got to understand is this: is that we can vote, we can go to school, we can become the black man can become a Kappa, the black woman become a Sigma sweetheart. Okay, and you're still subservient and you're still paying taxes. Somebody has to be servants. Okay, and to your point, what you were saying as far as like the entertainers, they'll give a black man $100 million and say, okay, to dribble a basketball, you're only going to get about 40 million anyway out of that 100 million. Okay, so we work and work and work and work and work. I know some people that got 3 jobs. It seems like we can't get out of the hole that we're in. You know, the gas is getting high. New York City, you have rent that's over $2,000 for a 10 by 10 apartment. So you got to understand this is that this stuff was done by design of the Heavenly Father. Okay, and the only way the black man is going to receive retribution. You ever ask yourself that also? We built this country up. We designed everything. We built everything. Gas mask, stoplight. We invented everything. Okay, why is it that we still begging our enemies for equal rights and reparation? We still marching. No justice, no peace. You know, we shall overcome. Why are we still doing that here in 2016? You mean to tell me nothing got better for us yet? Okay, you mean it's a spiritual and it's a higher force that's going to get us out of the conditions. It may sound crazy. It may sound crazy.
Well, it is spiritual, but I don't see it as gloom and doom.
No.
Because I think spiritually everything is happening the way it's supposed to, and you know, you can call this out or that out, and it is what it is. But the bottom line is spiritually.
You got a lot to say today.
Right, but spiritually, each man, each person have to go inside themselves, and it's who you are. See, society has, like you said, designed your mind to think the way it thinks. You got to think outside the box. Everybody thinks in a box, and when you talk religion, Christianity, or Islam and Judaism, to me, those are just boxes.
That's another show.
And those boxes that I'm gonna say you all think in, it limits whatever you're able to do, because it says you got the any religion that you're in say that you got to do this, and if you ain't doing those things, then you're not you're not in a tune to the spirituality of your father. And why do it have to be a father? Why can't it be a mother? Or why can't it be a man? Why do it have to be he? That's male dominant thinking in and of itself.
Right.
So who says that there have to be a spiritual father? It can be a spiritual creator, but that's the box that we're in. So I think when we get into all that rhetoric, we could go in so many different directions with that. But I think it's a matter of who you are inside, and I think you have to get to a point of where you know who you are, not who your family is or who your country believe in and all that. You got to, some way you got to find out that everything is bigger than you, him, your society. It is spiritual, but it's bigger than your religion. When you get caught up in religion, to me, you're already bound by certain rhetorics, because every religion thinks that's the way it's supposed to be. You can't tell anybody else their religion is wrong. I don't even like to get into religious conversations, because I believe if that's what you want to believe, I'm going to let you have that.
Right.
But those are boxes to me, and when you're in a box, there's a top, there's a bottom, there's a side, there are lids on it. Think outside that box and you'll see a bigger world out there.
Right. Let me say this
quick.
Yeah, let me say this real quick. It depends on what it really depends on what you believe in, and what you were saying as far as like religion. The Bible doesn't speak about religion. You can't go in the Bible and find where it says, be a Baptist, be a Christian, be a Roman Catholic, be a Muslim, be a you can't go in the Bible and you can't find these things. So it has to do nothing really what religion. Okay, what you got to understand is this, is that, America prides themselves, on saying, trust in God. They have it on the American dollar bill. They have it in the school systems. They have it in the courts. In God we trust. Now, everyone knows, and this is the only reason why I'm saying this, everyone knows that when you think of God, you think of his word, which is the Bible. Okay, so if you're going to say let's trust in God, you got to start living by the Lord's word. Okay, so what you got to understand is this, is that America hasn't been in compliance, of the Heavenly Father's words. Okay, which is conducive, right? It's
we're still saying the Heavenly Father. We're still saying he.
According to the Bible, he's a he.
It's male dominant.
It depends on what you believe in.
But
it depends on what you believe in.
Who designed the Bible? Who designed the Bible?
Heavenly Father.
No,
the Heavenly Father.
Man designed the Bible.
Man is not that smart.
Right, man designed the Bible.
Man is not that smart.
Man put the book together. Now God, the Heavenly Father, created all things.
If
you want to say Father.
Right, absolutely. Man is not that smart.
People wrote it.
Right, inspired it. Right, he inspired his prophets to write the Bible. Right.
When he's saying Heavenly Father, I mean, even me.
But I'm saying it's still what, because we've been taught.
It's what you're saying.
We've been taught to think. Everything when you think about religion, you've been taught subconsciously. You're saying he, the Father. You know what I'm saying? That's conditioning right there. We're conditioned to think that. But suppose there is not why are you not saying Heavenly Mother? Because we've not been conditioned.
Bible says.
Right, but that's conditioning. Is he?
Isn't that part
but see, male-driven society is always going to say, if we say God is a he, then that makes man feel dominant over woman, because I must be closer to God than you. If he's a he and I'm a he and you're a she, then I must be a little better than you. So I made you for my real. You know what I'm saying?
I'll take it a step farther. I'm better than you. You know why? Because your quote-unquote
religion,
it's a joke. Heavenly Father is who?
The supreme being Yahweh.
Who?
Yahweh.
No.
Meaning he is.
Who?
Well, let's say Jesus for the sake of argument.
Who's Jesus?
Right. He's the Son of the Most
Son
High.
of God.
Correct.
Who's the God of the Jews? His
Yahweh,
father.
right? Absolutely.
So I'm better than you because I'm going directly to the top floor.
Well, look. You got to look at it like. Well, look. You got to look at it like
It's
this.
a joke, Frank. It was a joke.
Right. You,
And let's not get any more further into it. There's only one more thing I want to say.
I was about to dig at him. I was about to get him.
Somebody in the chat. No, we can do that again if you want to, me and you. But somebody in the chat was telling me that when I was saying that people are not there, that I know a lot of black people that are successful, and I said, look at you guys, somebody said that that's an insult. So I want to apologize. If I said something, you guys, look at you guys, I was told that was not.
Well, I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be offended because it's a conversation.
Yeah, I know, but if it was, I just want to apologize.
Somebody's going to always be offended. If you have a conversation, believe me, anybody listening, everybody's not going to agree with you. Everybody's not going to believe what you're saying, and that's fine. Everybody got an opinion, and everybody got a what else. We don't even have to call it by name, but everybody got one. So, no big deal. It's a conversation.
And I'm serious. I mean, if you want to do a show and talk about this, I'll be more.
You guys going to invite me back again?
He said,
For
I mean, you can always come on my show, but he's
we
about
can
his
do
show
a
too.
show an hour or 2 hours,
Absolutely.
just sit and talk.
Absolutely.
Because even though I don't agree
Kidding
with
me?
everything you're
Absolutely.
saying, you don't agree with everything, it is important stuff to get out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up. We have gone over, but again, we appreciate having Frank.
Hey, I appreciate
Frank on,
you having me.
And the book, The Greatest Show on Earth. He talked about the dynamics of The Greatest Show on Earth. So I think we should get the book, find out more about it. It's a lot to discuss and dialogue about. Even if you don't, whether you do or don't believe it, that's not the question. The question is information that you can question and you can research and find your own answers if you don't agree with the answers that you hear or that you heard here today. It's conversation, it's discussion, but what it does, it opens your mind up to new possibilities, new thoughts, and that's what I want to inspire in every show. So appreciate you guys for listening in today. We'll be back again next Tuesday. I want to thank you all for tuning in, staying tuned in, and continue to tune in. Have a good one. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Greatest show on Earth.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tanya Love Show, Health Then with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.